Okay, so let's first welcome to Gammy's Going Gray. Clearly, I go back to any of my other videos, even 6 months ago. It is a complete transformation. Yesterday, I had, anyways, welcome. And if you're new, my vlog is about a lot of different things. So, buckle up and welcome. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I promised to do, and that's about benzodiazepines. But first, let me say about the hair, because we've been watching me, and it's a really pretty color. I like it, for me. But yesterday, I had my grandchildren over, 2 of them, and after I got done working again is doing good, and as a matter of fact, as soon as I finish this little vlog, and it's going to be really short, I'm going to have to do this in many little parts. So this is part 1. And I'm going into the office and doing some office work today. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? 2 years, 3 years ago, could never imagine myself doing these things. Anyway, my granddaughter, who is 7, walks up to me now. We had a big birthday bash for my second daughter's 30th birthday on Sunday, and everybody was here, and we had a great time, by the way. Can't believe she's 30. I gave birth to her when I was 31. But my granddaughter, and I wore my wig that day. Without going into much ado, lots of compliments, couldn't tell it wasn't my real hair, and because my hair has gotten, this is 4 weeks of growth, so all this was out, my bangs were out, so a lot of my own natural hair was sticking out of the wig, and you could not tell which was wig and which was real hair. So I wore my wig on Sunday. So yesterday, my granddaughter comes up to me and says, well, take your wig off. And I wasn't wearing a wig. And I go, honey, I can't. This isn't a wig. And she goes, yes, take your wig off. And she pulls, and I go, honey, that's my hair. That's how close my hair, my natural hair, is starting to look like the wig, which is exactly what I wanted. Then when my daughter came to pick up the kids, she said the same thing. We're getting dinner in the kitchen, and she looks at me and she goes, so you have your wig on again today? And I go, no, this is my natural hair. Livy just said the same thing today. And she goes, oh my gosh, Mom, why do you ever wear the wig? She goes, your natural hair looks, I think, as good, if not better, than your wig. So that was a nice compliment. Okay, benzodiazepines. I'm going to get started. I'm literally going off the top of my head. I probably shouldn't do that. That's probably not the smartest thing, but I don't have time to dig into the archives of all my journals, because I journaled everything, every day, every feeling. But I'm just going to give you, today is just going to be a little history of my experience with the benzodiazepines. Okay? So let's go back to 2000, the year 2000. And I believe now that I probably suffered from some sort of general anxiety disorder from the time I was 18. I had my first classic migraine at the age of 18. I was, let's say I was not home. I went into a ladies' room and went to the bathroom to wash my hands, and I looked up and I couldn't see part of my face, and because I was getting aura, and I literally was pressing my face against the mirror, and it was flipping me out. I thought I was going blind. By the time somebody was able to call somebody to come get me, because that just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And if anyone who's watching has ever had an aura, you know what I'm talking about. Ziggy-zaggy. And then it goes to the peripheral. And it's like you have this halo of ziggy-zaggy, ziggy. And then literally, for me, you could time it. 20 minutes, boom, it was gone. And then the headache. Stabbing, horrific headache. I'd have to be in a dark room. nauseous, all sorts of things. But anyways, that's what started my anxiety, I think. Because I was fine as a kid. I wasn't an anxious child or anything, not really. But so from the time I was 18, because then I just started getting migraines constantly, and you never knew where I'd be or what I'd be doing, and it would hit. And the aura is very scary. You can't see, you can't drive, you can't do anything when you're having the aura. And forgive me, I do have a tic. I believe it's a tic because I do this. I don't know if that's a tic or not, but especially when I'm watching myself, I'm definitely going to keep fluffing and touching and feeling. Anyway, but anxiety. But, it wasn't life-altering. It didn't diminish my life. It didn't control my life. I went on with life, I never had a panic attack, ever. Never had a panic attack. Just general anxiety. So, fast forward, 2000, I'm what? I don't want to do the math right now. But I was going into perimenopause, yes, early, 40, 41, 42, somewhere at that age, and I was already in perimenopause, and that was pretty young. And I was in perimenopause for literally 10 years. But going into perimenopause, and I went into insomnia for 3 straight days of 3 straight days of absolutely no sleep. None. I'm going to keep looking at the counter because I don't want to go over 15 minutes. So after 3 days of no sleep, and now I'm very anxious. I have 3 young children, a home to care for, and I worked full-time at my children's Christian private school teaching, and I was losing my mind. So I go to the doctor and say, give me something. Well, I don't know about these drugs. I'm not a nurse yet. I don't know. I've never heard of these medications. I don't know anyone who takes these medications. So she offers me Paxil, which is an antidepressant, and says, this will fix you right up. It's going to take a couple weeks, but it's going to fix you right up. So I go home and I take it, and by the next evening, I'm having a panic attack. And I vividly remember this because my 3 kids and my husband are in the living room in a circle around me because I'm losing my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. So we call the doctor and we put her on speaker, and she very calmly says, oh, it's not the medication, it's you. And I'm like, well, that's very odd because I've never had a panic attack before. And now that I started this medication, well, it's okay. I'm going to call in a script, have Sid go pick it up and take one of these, and you're going to be fine. It was Xanax. And I was fine. Sid went and picked it up. I took it, and I was good to go. So my memory is not all that great. But I do remember within several days after that, I was taking the Xanax constantly. How often, I can't tell you. But I was getting worse. And the anxiety was absolutely worse. So my husband, where he worked, his secretary actually worked part-time in a doctor's office. And he says to his secretary, my wife's doing something's going on with Elaine. She's got this anxiety. She's losing her mind. And the secretary goes, well, the doctor's office that I work for, he works with people like this. Let me get her an appointment with him. Literally the next day. I go in, and he's very calming and reassuring and says, you're clearly having a bad reaction to the Paxil. We're going to take you off that, put you on Zoloft, but I want you to continue taking clonazepam. But only take 1 a day, and that will do it until the Zoloft kicks in, and then you're going to be fine. And I did such. And the clonazepam was the ticket. And after about 6 weeks, I was fine. And I came right off the clonazepam, and no effects or anything. But, so I only stayed on the Zoloft for maybe 3 months because I didn't want to be on medications, and I was okay, so I came off of it really fast. Well, what happens, and now I know that now, is that I might have been fine, but I came off the Zoloft so fast that I was in withdrawal. I came off Zoloft and clonazepam so fast that I went into withdrawal. All I'm being told is that it's your anxiety is still there. You've got to go back on the Zoloft. So back on the Zoloft after 3 months. 6 months on it, fine, come off of it again. And the same thing. Same exact thing. So I go back on the Zoloft, and I stay on it for 15 years. So 2000 went off and on it for a couple of times, and then until 2015. We will fast forward. If you watch any of my old videos, you'll know my history of me becoming very ill with certain things and me being diagnosed with many different things, Lyme being one of them, all sorts of problems. I had become a nurse. I was working in a hospital. Ended up not losing my job, but leaving my job, being put on permanent, and I still to this day am on permanent disability. I consider myself, at that point, I was bedridden. We let the lease run out on my car because I stopped driving. I had such bad dizziness. Things just went really bad. From bad to badder, which is not a word, to worser. It was horrible. So in 2015, I realized I had been playing with my Zoloft dose for 2 years, literally 24 times in a 2-year span. So that's literally almost once a month I changed my Zoloft dose with doctor's help, trying to figure out what was going on, why the Zoloft wasn't helping anymore because my anxiety was crashing. It was awful. And I started taking clonazepam again because the Zoloft wasn't helping through all this sickness. So in 2015, I said, I'm done with the Zoloft. It's not working. I'm done. And I came off of it very quickly, knowing full well that that was not the right thing to do, but I wanted it out of my system. And I figured, I'm not working. I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting on this couch. I can deal with it. So I came off of it. But then I started taking clonazepam daily, twice a day. I want to say the most I was prescribed 2 milligrams. I never in my life took 2 milligrams. The most I ever took was 1 milligram. I want to say 0.5 in the morning and 0.5 in the evening. And I relied on that. And then I will go into how you taper, how you do the crossover to another benzo, which is Valium. I will discuss that on another vlog. And I did that. I did all this research. I had read all of Professor Heather Ashton's material and printed it out. I went to my doctor, and my doctor happens to also be a friend outside of our professional relationship, and she said to me, Lainey, you're a nurse and you've done more research than I ever have on this. You know more about these drugs than I do, so I trust you. You tell me what to write out and I'll write out because you know what to do. And I did. This is what I need. I need this exactly at this milligram, blah, blah, blah. And she just followed my directions, which was really nice. But she trusted me. I'm an honest person and I'm a nurse and I'm not trying to get high. So we will go into that later. I'm running out of time. But I was able to taper down or wean down to at 1.1 milligram of Valium, which is not even equivalent to anything in clonazepam. It's so little. But then my oldest brother passed away suddenly. He's found dead in his bed 3 days later. It was very traumatic, as you well can see, finding out your brother had been dead in his bed for 3 days before anyone even knew. And I went back to the doctor and said, I can't do this. I was losing my mind, and went back onto the clonazepam. Don't do it. And before I end this part 1, I'm going to say this. I've heard this from other people who are sick with other things, because for a long time, this is going to go over 15 minutes and I apologize, but I was concentrating on getting off the drug that I thought the drug was the whole part of my illness, and I realized it wasn't. Withdrawal does not cause I continued to get swollen lymph nodes. I was getting low-grade fevers. I had swollen knee. That is a hallmark sign of Lyme disease. I had other things, but for a long time I wasn't concentrating on anything but the benzo, and then people were telling me you got to concentrate on one or the other, so I just forgot the benzo and started concentrating on Lyme disease, which was... And I've heard a lot of people go, no, my doctor has said that it's not the benzo. I'm here to tell you that is, and forgive my French, bullshit. Sorry, but that's the clearest way I can tell you. Bullshit. Okay? I'm sorry, and I apologize. I hope I don't offend anyone by saying that, and if I did, I apologize 300 times. If that doctor is not an addiction specialist and has been working with these drugs, your doctor knows less than the man on the street. And if your doctor was truthful, they would admit that. What they know about your medications is as much as I knew about them as a nurse. They know what the pharmaceutical reps tell them when they come through their door. They did a little bit of pharmaceuticals in their medical training, but that is not their specialty. They are not a pharmacist. They are not an addiction specialist. So if any doctor who is not one of those people who says, your benzo's fine, you're okay, it's baloney. Now I'll try to clean it up by calling it baloney. Because I had doctors saying that to me. I had Lyme literate medical doctor saying, your benzodiazepine is fine. It's not causing any of this. Lies. Okay, now I'm at 17 minutes. I will come back on for part 2, part 3, part 4. I hope this doesn't go to part 5. But I will come back on and go into more of the detail of equivalencies of these medications, half-lives, and what they do to your brain, and the long-lasting effects, and that it can cause problems that will never be eradicated. Okay, I'm sorry I'm ending this on a really bad note, but I gotta go to work, because I can actually have a life now, because I'm almost off my benzo. Yes, I'm really close to being completely off of it. Praise God. And once I'm free and clear of these drugs, anything that's lasting, will safely say it has nothing to do with benzos now. It is something else. Okay, thanks for coming on. Sorry if I offended anyone. I hope this has been a little helpful, just giving you some of my history. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, because literally I am doing this off the top of my head because I hate when somebody reads to me. It's like, I could just read that myself. I don't really need you to read me. Now, some people like that. I personally don't. So that's why I feel like I don't want to read to you, because I don't like to be read to. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I will try to make sure that I cover whatever it is you need to know. Okay? God bless. Have a great day, and see you soon.